Welcome to Geosynthetica's GeoTalk podcast, where we discuss geosynthetics and affiliated issues in civil and geotechnical engineering. I'm Chris Kelsey, editor of geosynthetica.net. Have black high-density polyethylene geomembranes become commodity products? It's beginning to feel that way. They still provide exceptional environmental protection in sensitive projects, and they still require care and real experience on the installation and CQA side. But a wide range of applications commonly use 40 or 60 mil black HDPE, and we now have a good number of producers around the world that are able to offer these rolls. What really seems to make the long-heralded black HDPE feel like a commodity product is a tremendous R&D going on in geomembranes. We're seeing a huge move towards white geomembrane, conductive geomembrane. They're producing better service lives and in many respects better economics for particular niche applications. We talked with Payeur of Solmax, one of the world's leading geomembrane manufacturers, about these trends and the continuing push towards reinvention. My guest today is Payeur. He is a sales manager for the Americas for Solmax, one of the largest geomembrane manufacturers in the world. And Paul, I want to talk to you about innovation in geomembranes, because we've seen a lot of changes going on in a very positive direction. We are seeing new performance levels, and it seems pretty dramatic what we're able to achieve now. In terms of like geomembranes operating in very aggressive environments, geomembranes in exposed environments, just designing geomembranes to last even longer. And so from the manufacturing side, how are we achieving this? Is this all coming out of manufacturing R&D? Is this coming out of new polymer formulations or additive packages? How are we getting to this level?
Well, I think at this point, the way we achieve that these days ourselves is mainly working with formulation, the resin. Unfortunately, the resin people, have been doing, high density, linear low density over the last 20 years, and it's all the same. They didn't change, they didn't improve. So what we have to do ourselves internally is to play with the formulation, the additives, so the package that we can add into our geomembrane to make it better. Okay, yeah. So our focus over the last 2-3 years now is on the innovation side is just to try to create new product for specific applications.
Yes.
Okay, the regular geomembrane, the black geomembrane has been used, and I will say it's almost a commodity product these days. So in order ourselves to differentiate ourselves, we look at different application and what we can improve with the geomembrane. So we work with the white geomembrane, and even the last webinar from Dr. Kerner, that those wrinkles, those waves in the geomembrane, their solution, white is one. So we came up with the white. Now also we work on the conductive side. We came up last year with a new product, the HLR, the hot liquid rated material.
Yes.
Mainly for specific application where there's hot liquids going to be in contact with geomembrane that can resist up to 100 degrees C. So it's not a huge market, but it's a specific market, and we develop for that market. And so we're just trying, our team in the research and development side, just look at the formulation, the resin available out there throughout the world, because we have a plan, in Canada. We have a plan also in Malaysia. So we have access to resin all around the world, and that's different formulation out there, different suppliers, so we can play with, and that's mainly the key. And even recently, we brought into North America a product called the Sequoia that we consider our premium grade material.
Yeah.
So it's a high density, can be linear low density, but we packed with a lot of additives to increase longevity of the material on the OIT, HPOIT, mainly to have the material more resistance in the long term. Because that product was developed with our experience in Australia that we developed over the last 4 or 5 years in the coal seam gas market.
Yeah.
That's where the request was, and playing with the resin out there, we came up with that material, let's say, and everybody wants it now in Australia.
Yeah.
So we said, hey, why not bring it back to Canada and US and to the world? So we brand that material. Sequoia is a different name, but it's something different.
Yeah.
And let's say we got a lot of requests from the engineer community asking about it and what it does for them.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the long life now, extending the lives, the design service lives with these geomembranes, how much different then is, say, the Sequoia from, the standard, previous standard kind of black geomembrane?
The main difference is on the depletion of the material. Let's say you got, the regular high density. Let's say when it's covered, we know the longevity is going to be 600, 700, 800 years. But when it exposed and with the UV, let's say that's where depletion starts.
Yeah.
So if we're able to protect the membrane or the resin to deplete faster, so it will last longer.
Yeah.
So for sure, material will still last, but when you get to a 50% depletion, that's where it starts to crack, and that's no good.
Yeah.
So longer is going to resist, better it is. So is it going to? We don't have the long-term test done yet, but is it going to be 100 more years, 200 more years? But it's just that we protect the membrane for better depletion.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What markets do you see adopting this in other parts of the world now? If it comes out of the coal seam gas industry in Australia, where might we see it going?
But one market we're targeting is the mining.
Yeah.
Because they got harsh conditions. Unfortunately, the mining sector is still slow. Yeah. But we're seeing that it's going to come back. But talk to the engineer and the mine with their application and understand and make them understand what we can do for them. I think that's what they have in mind these days. So mining is really a focus. We're looking also on the coal ash, but it's not really critical for the geomembrane. So, but mining will be more harsh condition than anything else. So that's what we're targeting, and we have another program also, what we call the cost reduction program, that we meet with the mining companies directly and say, what is your design? What we can do for you that you've been using 60 mil HDPE over the last 20 years, it works.
Yeah.
But is there something else we can do? Is a 40 mil can do, or LLDPE can do better, or 50 mil? So we help them, let's say, to do all the tests for them and say, hey, if there's some saving we can give you, good. So try to educate them, let's say, and engineer, let's say, are good, but let's say sometimes it copy-paste specs from the last job they did, and we just try to bring them here's the new technology, here's the new product, here's what we can do for you.
Yeah. Show that the manufacturing methodologies we have now can make a product more specific to a site without actually increasing the cost.
It's not one product for all the same application, but is there something specific we can do for you and dedicate a production run just for you? So that's what they're looking at right now. So getting out of the commodity, everybody can do black HDPE these days, but when you put some brain into it and let's say bring something more to the end user, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. In terms of the oil and gas market, you have the oil and gas market in the U.S. and in South America and such, that in the mining, where these markets may target to some of these newer formulations of geomembranes and things coming out of the coal seam gas in Australia. But I want to ask you about your new venture in Houston, because I think that's tied to oil and gas as well. And
that was one reason for it, but it's not.
You started Solmax USA.
Yeah. Let's say we the acquisition we did in Houston. Let's say the previous brawler company. Let's say we bought their asset. That's mainly for us to have a presence in the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay, and Texas, let's say, with oil and gas in Texas, it's coming back. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a good opportunity for us, but also is to, at the same time, give some consolidation to the industry. I think there's excess capacity these days around the world. But what we're aiming to say is to bring the Solmax brand into Houston and serve the south and the west part of the United States, because from Canada we had some disadvantage on the freight. So now we'll be local or closer to the market. Same thing with the mining in the Nevada area. So let's say we'll be closer to the market, let's say, and we're really excited with that.
Yeah.
So we're working on it as we speak. Let's say we just we got in there, let's say 2 weeks ago, and we're just revamping everything and updating the equipment so to have it according to our standard.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the Solmax quality, and all the new product that we were doing in Canada or in Malaysia, we'll be able to do it also in Houston.
You'll be able to do the full product range.
Yeah. We'll have the full product range in Houston. So that's we're all excited about that.
Yes. Well, it sounds like very busy days, but it's.
Well, I'd say you need to come. But I'd say we're still on a growing path. Let's say we started, let's say 35 years ago as a geosynthetic installer. It's been over 20 years right now as a manufacturer, and we're one of the biggest one in the world. So we need to continue to grow.
Yeah.
And with our new approach in creating new product and new approach, that's what we hope to be there for the next 50 years.
Yes.
Maybe not me, but somebody else.
It's a constant act of reinvention.
Exactly.
That's key.
That's the key these days.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Paul, I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to talk with us.
my pleasure, Chris.
Thank
Always.
you.
All right.
For more information on Solmax's international operations, geosynthetics, and engineering expertise, visit solmax.com. We look forward to bringing you another episode next week. Thank you for listening.